When it comes to the Pokemon TCG, the one thing people really enjoy doing is building decks. And even though we have access to the best decks through third-party sites, being able to make your own deck on a card you really enjoy just has a feel to it that copying a deck from online can't match. So it doesn't surprise me that I get a lot of people asking me to make a deck on a certain card, often their favorite Pokemon, or a certain combination, to see how someone like me with 8 years of daily deck building experience would tackle it, hoping to get closer to finding the perfect 60 with their favorite cards. And you know what? I feel like I've not been scratching that itch with my videos. And yes, I do show you the deck list and play a few games to show you how it works, but you don't actually learn anything beyond how that one deck plays, nor do you witness the full journey of getting to the final deck list, which can have some really cool moments. And today, that's exactly what I'm going to do, as I'm going to be taking you on the journey of building a good deck around a certain card, all the way from the first draft to the final deck list, or deck lists. So strap yourselves in and get ready for the ride. Also, if you do like what I do, I really would appreciate a like and subscribe, please, before we get into it. Thank you very much. So what card are we building the deck around? Well, I don't need to beat around the bush, do I? You've seen the thumbnail, and yes, we are building a deck around Blastoise EX. And no, I didn't just choose Blastoise because it is my favorite Pokemon in terms of starters, but because it has the solid shell ability, which allows it to take 30 less damage from attacks, meaning it has an effective 360 HP. That is mega Pokemon territory. And with the Twins Cannon attack maxing out at 280, that's a really solid number. So in getting this card to work, you could do some serious stuff, but you have to pair it with the right cards. But before we get into deck building, I want to explain exactly how this video is going to pan out. We will start by building a first draft of the deck and then go for a test run. And at that point, if we need any improvements, I will make them and do another test run. And through that journey, we'll hopefully end up with a deck that we are super satisfied with. And I also hope that you can learn how to apply the deck building skills I have shown in this video to your decks, whilst also enjoying the experience that is the deck building process. So how about we get into the first draft? So starting off, I decided to add 3 copies of Blastoise EX, 2 copies of Wartortle because I plan a certain strategy with this, and 4 copies of Squirtle. What's really interesting about this Squirtle is I did not know that there was a 70 HP promo that exists for Squirtle. I thought you only had access to the 60 HP one, and I explained why that is such a big deal. You see, there are cards in the formats like Dragapult EX, which of course we know does 200 damage and does 60 damage to the bench, meaning the extra 10 HP on an evolving Pokemon can be the difference between evolving and not evolving. This is a very big deal. And speaking of Dragapult, that leads us into the engine I decided to go with. And that is the Dracloak Draw engine. And for those that are unaware, engine is best described as a part of a deck that lets it function. Think of an engine in a car. And so you have acceleration engines like Baxcalibur and Ember, for example, and draw engines like the Dracloak or, like an older version, Bibarel. So Dracloak is going to be our way of drawing cards in its deck with its Recon Directive ability, which reads, once during your turn, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put one of them into your hand, put the other to the bottom of your deck. I decided this because I realized that Blastoise needs very big hands to be able to reliably pull off its Twin Cannons attack. I then added 2 TM evolutions, 4 Arvens and 4 Poffins, which of course explains the game plan for this deck, as I aim to go second and evolve quickly into Dracloaks and Wartortles on my first turn. And at that point, I decided to just type water in the search bar to see what water support is available in trainer cards, and all that was really there was Surfing Beach, which could be handy, so I chucked one in there. And with stadiums in mind, I decided to also add 2 Artisans to make it super easy to get my Pokemon out. And it's at this point in time that I start to think about the cards that Blastoise needs. And one of those cards is indeed Energy Retrieval. Reason being is because the Twin Cannons attack does indeed discard energy from hand. So you need to reuse that energy in order to consistently hit 280 damage, and Retrieval, being able to recover 2 energy from your discard pile, is the perfect partner. Now, of course, this is a stage 2 deck, so we need rare candies, of which I added 3, given we are also evolving with TM Evolution. I also added Hilda, which will work perfectly with the A-spec of this deck you'll see soon, 2 Earthen Vessel for energy search to be able to consistently use Blastoise attack, Iono for hand disruption, and Boss for Gust Plate. Fun fact, by the way, we call switching Pokemon from the bench to the active Gust because the first card ever printed with that effect was indeed called Gust of Wind. Anyway, I wanted to take advantage of Blastoise HP, so I also added Professor's Turo to be able to heal it. And although 280 is a very, very high number, we want to be one-hit KOing those Stage 2 Pokemon, so we need some cards to help us with that, such as Black Belt's Training, Vitality Band, and Gravity Mountain, of which I did cut one Artisan for to fit it in the deck. Now, for those wondering, the reason why I chose Vitality Band is because it fixes important maths. With Black Belt's Training, you are going up to 320 damage, and the Vitality Band will allow you to go to 330, one-hit KOing very important Stage 2s like Charizard EX. Furthermore, when you have Gravity Mountain in play, any Pokemon that is 320 HP, like Dragapult EX for example, can now also be one-hit KO'd with Vitality Band as it will have 290 HP. So that's my reasoning for Vitality Band over anything else. And yes, you've guessed it, the A-spec for this deck will be the Neo Upper Energy, which allows the Blastoise to attack for one single energy attachment with it, as it acts as 2 Rainbow Energy when attached to a Stage 2. And finally, after finishing off with 7 Water Energy, we have a deck. But what's a deck without playing it, right? So how about we get into our first game? Okay, this is our first test of this deck, and starting an Arven and an Energy. Okay, means we can get a TM Evo play off, that's for sure. I'm playing against Typhlosion. I don't think they can reach our number. I don't think they can get to 360, even with their Gravity Mountain and Victini plays. Oh wait, no, Bangle, can they? I don't know, but it's going to be a lot easier for us to take a KO, so it's a good, a lucky start. As all we need to do is discard 1 energy to be able to one-hit KO them. But the thing is, they do set up pretty well, so we cannot get carried away. They do draw for turn, and they just pass. Oh gosh. Aye. Hilda, how you doing, darling? Let's go for a Puffin and an Evolution. I'm liking the look of this already. I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna straight up TM Evo. I can Hilda for Blastoise next turn. Have an energy in hand. They need to bench something, otherwise they're probably losing next turn, which is crazy. There we go. A nice start. That's exactly how we've intended to play this. They go for a Team Rocket's Petrol. Okay, get yourself some Puffins. Or should I say 1 Puffin? Secret Box! Donnie's got 3 Ethans in his hand he's about to discard. For sure. They do play that Secret Box. Getting rid of... Okay, 2 Fire and a Boss. Yeah, you really were bricking, huh? Well, at the very least, you can get some basics down. You can get a supporter for next turn. Maybe get that Bangle. No, they go for an Evolution. That makes so much more sense. And Dawn. Dawn is a card I've not thought about in Typhlosion, actually. But we're not here for that. I'm here for the Blastoise, baby. Maybe we can sweep. That would be good fun. 1 big Blastoise just channeling through them. Who knows, hey? And on top of that, that is a potential boss one-hit KO to also take into account. In fact, I could probably do it next turn if they do get Pidgeot out. Assuming I don't get hand disrupted, which is likely the case with the Dawns, and you know, clearly they're playing Ethans in here. You may have room for like 1 or 2 Ionos, but it's not going to be what you're playing all the time. So in any case, I just go for a single Blastoise KO now with 1 energy. I have Boss in hand. I have Retrieval. Boss KO Pidgeot. Oh, we could be talking. And we have the Puffin on top. Oh, this is lovely. Let's get another Squirtle and another Dreepy down. I'm also... It's overbenching, but I think developing is going to be good for us. I think I'll just get another Squirtle down. Screw it. Let's have some fun. Before we play Hilda, we, of course, Recon Directive. Could find a Blastoise, and we do! Which means I can Hilda here for a Dracloak. And that's Neo Upper Energy. Thankfully not prized. Didn't check my deck, but who does that, right? Okay, in all seriousness, going into that Wartortle, evolving into Blastoise. In fact, I had Candy, so I could have done something with that, actually, but hey-ho. We can do that at another point, can't we? Who knows? Maybe we get a Blastoise right here. Oh... What is this deck doing? Why is it working for... I don't know. Why is it working? That's supposed to be the point. We're trying to build the best possible Blastoise here. We'll take a knockout there, and we'll take a prize card, another Dracloak. This is going so smooth. What on earth? They go for a Bonded by the Journey. They grab an Ethan's Inventure. Inventure? What's he inventing? Definitely not a Super Rod, because that already exists. They do play it, getting themselves a Cyndaquil and a Fire Energy back in. They can Artisan if they want to. They're going to Dawn, though. You do need a Fire Energy. That's for sure. And they are going to get Quailava and also that Pidgeot. That Pidgeot is a prime target, a prime suspect for my case of 100%. There it is. It's out. And we're not getting hand disrupted. This is ideal for us. Granted, the matchup is perfect, so we have to take that into account. This is just a fantastic first test. And at least we know we go very well into Typhlosion. I mean, you'd think that's a no-brainer, right? But you never know, right? They get an Ethan's Adventure. And I think what's important to point out here as well is although the matchup is good, and thus we're very likely to win this game, our focus, of course, when testing isn't so much on whether we win the game or not. It's much more on how the deck plays. And right now, it's playing like butter. So smooth. I mean, don't get me wrong. We've had some very lucky Dracloaks, but if this is how this deck plays already, we could be onto something really fun. As they just simply retreat and pass. I already have it good to go, my friend. Let's get another Blastoise out. I think you should always take an opportunity to attach where you can. But before I play anything, I think I'm going to go for Recon Directive here. I'll use all three of them in a row. I'll use Dreepy as discard fodder. That's fine. In that case, it actually is better for me to do this now to increase the Recon Directive draws, of course. So let's attach that for turn. Let's Recon Directive again. And this time around, I'll take an Arven. That's fine. We'll Recon Directive for a third time. And low-key, I don't mind the rare candy. I don't need Gravity Mountain. In fact, that makes it harder for me. And so here we are. I'm going to go for a retrieval, recovering 2 energy, and we're going to boss one-hit KO that Pidgeot. Oh, yeah, this feels good, man. 2 prizes there. We're not out of the woodwork just yet, right? But it's safe to say that I think we're winning this bad boy. But this is the Pokemon TCG. Let's not forget, anything can happen. If you've watched my videos for a while, you know that is very true. You could be so far behind and still somehow do it. Then again, have you seen my board state? Look at the beauty. Yeah, I don't know. Eva's Adventure coming in, though. And with 4 in the discard pile, they're currently doing 290, but that's the first Ethan. So it's not looking great even with that, as they do go into Typhlosion. Do you know what? I bet they're so unhappy to face me. I bet they're like, who plays Blastoise nowadays? Brother, I am. As they do evolve into another Quailava, they also attach the Bangle, so they're hitting 30 more damage, which is cancelled out by the Solid Shell. And we are looking mighty fine. Let's attach an energy, because we can get away with that. Recon Directive here. Could always Arven, of course, for a little bit more if I wanted to. Iono, not really feeling that right now. I'll be real with you. Feel like I've got a free card hand off that. All right, that's fair. That's so fair. And a good first test. A very, very good first test. Now, let's be honest. Although that was a fantastic start, we need a little more to be sure that this is a good road to take. But before just getting into another game, I realized there is something crucial my deck is lacking, and that is recovery. I had no rods or stretchers to recover my Pokemon, so I decided to add 2 night stretchers to allow for Pokemon recovery. I didn't choose Super Rod because we have 3 energy retrievals, so energy recovery is fine. But what to cut, you might ask? Well, it was a tough pick, but I ended up cutting 1 rare candy and 1 Artisan. I also did realize we needed some form of protection from Dusknoir and decided to also add Psyduck, which for those that don't know, prevents your opponent from knocking themselves out and thus turning off Dusknoirs. And for this, I cut 1 Vitality Band, leaving things really tight, but I felt it was worth it. And just after making those changes, I then get into another game. Let's see how the second test goes down for the second draft of the list. Basically very similar to one we already had, right? But now has the recovery in here and a Psyduck to help. We don't know if it's going to come into effect, but again, it's not so much about the matchups. It's much more down the line of making sure this thing functions as intended. And starting off here with Squirtles feels pretty good. Got TM Evolution and an energy. I don't think we're going second. I forgot. We'll find out in a literal millisecond. We're going first. That's fine. That is okay. I think I'm just going to attach to the active and probably just TM Evo next turn then. And seeing a Hoot means there could be multiple different decks we're playing against here. Let's see what it turns out to be. Buddy Puffin coming in, as it's a Dusknoir and a Fan Rotom. We're going to go for a Fan Call and get themselves 2 Noctowls and a Hoot as well. Is this Terrazard? Is it Charizard? I don't know. There's not an attacker down apart from that potential Fan Rotom, but I think I'm still going to stick to my plan and go with the Buddy Puff in play. I'll get Vitality. I was debating between that and Evolution because I could Evo again. But no, I think I'm just going to get my stuff down. We've got Near Up Energy in here. That's good. So make sure I do an actual deck check here. We are serious this time. We have Hilda Candy, so that's nice. But I would need energy in order to do any significant damage. Wait, I forgot to... yeah. I was intending to go for the Wartortle, but I've gone for Dracloak, which I still am low-key okay with. Well, they evolve into Noctowl, but they can't use it. Oh, no. Rookie mistake. So not only have I misplayed, they've misplayed too. Oof. Yes. That's the ptcgl ladder for you, my friend. They skipped. Well, that was the second test. Let's just go straight into a third one. Why not? Getting heads here, going second this time around. That's good. And we need to bear in mind that there's things we may want to remove, change, or even reconsider going forward. This may not be the final list. So although the list is already looking pretty solid, that doesn't mean this is going to be the end result, or even if the end result is going to be something similar, as I have another engine in mind that I do want to try out. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves here. Starting affairs. Oh, that seems to be a bit of a trend. What is it with ptcgl and always starting your one-offs instead of actually starting good Pokemon? Miraidon. We are weak to lightning. This is going to be a test. Joltik coming down too, so this is going to be hands with the Pikachu EX, I would think. Something you don't want to be seeing. Mind you, that deck loves going second, so the fact that we have a turn here feels okay. But that's about it. They do get a Latias down. Another big issue for this matchup too is that Resolute Heart ability. We're going to, at some point, need to find a way to get some damage on that Resolute Heart Pikachu. Because for those that don't know, the Resolute Heart Pikachu prevents it from being KO'd if it's KO'd with full HP. It will survive with 1 HP remaining, like Survival Brace, Focus Sash. Is it Focus Sash in the VGC? All that kind of jazz. Surfing Beach doing me no favors. We're again going to go with our play. It seems like we're like consistently hitting the TM Evo strat, which is good. I like that. That's the very least I can be happy about, but that is about it. Let's just go for a TM Evo, and I need to think this through. If I can get a way to damage this thing, oh, I don't know. I mean, obviously they're going to retreat and accelerate to the Pikachu. Maybe I just have to take a 2-prize KO and hope that I can set up further on down the line. But this is a big mountain we need to climb. And so I'm obviously going to be taking this into account when doing the testing. You can't beat every deck, and lightning weakness is a weakness. So the reason weaknesses exist is to keep those big and good decks in check. So of course it's going to exist to keep our deck in check. So I'm not going to suddenly change up the deck if we lose this game. Again, I'm much more questioning during this, how is this deck working during a much more difficult matchup compared to an easy one? Can we at least keep afloat? Can we be consistent whilst being knocked out basically every turn? That's where my mind is now, instead of just thinking I need to win this, because odds are I'm not. And thus the goal is to see, can we just keep going? If we can do that, then it's a successful test in my eyes. If not, then we may need to think a little bit further. They do charge up the hands though. And I mean, we do get KO on Joltik here. Let me go for a Recon Directive. And it's Blastoise again with Vessel. I think I take Vessel. I do evolve into Blastoise, but I am seriously considering just going for another TM Evo play. And I think I'm going to do it. Oh no, I've got not got Evo. Okay, well, in any case, I need another Squirtle. I can't not have Squirtle here. I think if I attacked this turn, they would have just Pikacha'd me, and then I would have had nothing. So if anything, I need to just do this, get some energy out, attach to this Squirtle, I think, and then just retreat to Dreepy, and hope if they whiff the Gust KO, which is unlikely. I know this deck plays a lot of Gust. That being Boss's Orders, Prime Catcher, Counter Catcher, you know, anything that brings Pokemon from the bench to the active, then odds are they've just got it. However, they might instead target my Dreepy or Squirtle with hands instead of just straight up KOing Blastoise, but I don't know. They get a Metal Energy and a Lightning though, and they retreat and they're just going to hands. Okay, I can respond with an Oko. They're going to respond with an Oko, and hopefully I can be ready to respond to that, and they might be out of juice. I don't know. They do need to get like more energy in play, or get a Magnemite down so they can Magneton, or go for an Electric to help a little bit more. Usually you go for Magnemite to Magneton, right? But I can 100% KO this Iron Hands, and that's going to be good. They do Arven though, as they do indeed get Prime Capture. Okay, it's there. They also do have the EXP share, which I'm assuming they're going to attach to this Pikachu to eat up that grass energy off the hands. And I think it's safe to say that the Prime Catcher isn't going to be too much of a problem for now, considering... Is that a Mawile? Oh my lord, I forgot this deck plays that. Yeah, that's a bit of an issue, huh? Gonna be hitting 3... Oh no, actually no, it's fine, right? Even if they take 4 prize cards, they still can't one-hit KO Blastoise. They can Fez, but hey-ho. It's a bad enough matchup as it is. Let me try and do something about it. Right, top deck, Nest Ball. I definitely evolved to Wartortle, and I definitely Hilda for Neo Upper, which I think is in the deck. I'm going to play Nest Ball for sure as well to get another Dreepy out. And no, we've prized Neo Upper energy! No way! No, oh no! Why am I not deck checking, bro? I should know that and should have like tried to build towards a Blastoise here. But now I've just gone and shot myself in the foot. Okay, this is terrible. This is not good even slightly. I'm going to have to attach this here and then Iono, I think. Let's throw the Vitality Band. I'm going to have to Iono them. We know they've got the Prime Catcher at the bottom of the deck. If they are, then it is pretty much just a wrap. How did I forget about deck checking here? That is so painful. So painful. What's crazy is that's my error. I can't fault that on the deck list because there was a chance for me to still attack with Blastoise and get a KO on hands if I hit the right cards and instead promoted this instead of Blastoise, right? But no, there's the Arven. That's going to be a Prime Capture. And now I think it's literally impossible for me to win this game due to the weakness. And if anything, this goes to show how important Neo Upper Energy is for this build. We don't play EXP shares or any other ways to accelerate energy. No Crispin to try and mess around with it. It is super reliant on the Neo. But with that said, that's something we've learned. And with this being a loss, I'm still safe to say that this deck is functioning. It's performing. The reason we're struggling now is primarily because of my own error. But the list is still setting up. It's still getting Blastoise out. It's still getting like backups with Wartortle. It's achieving the goal we set out to achieve here, which is to remain consistent and keep up. If you take my misplays out of the equation, I think that's pretty cool. Let's go for a flip the script though. And if anything, we'll go out in style. Let's throw a Psyduck down. Let's evolve to Dreepy. And again, play test for testing sake, sorry. We're going to play this through even though we know we've lost, just to see again how the deck is working. So we go for a Recon Directive. There's a Candy, there's a Stretcher. I think Stretcher's better here in this situation or just in general because it gets me another Dreepy out, right? Yeah, it'd get me another Dreepy. And is there ever a case to like, no, Tall Scrapper could have maybe done something for me here, but even then, I'm sure they would have had a response. Arven, did you offer me anything here? Not particularly, no. So we'll just grab Retrieval, play said Retrieval, and, you know, all things considered, this is still working. And I'm happy with that. So yeah, they hit 300. They're going to absorb. Make sure they can misclick, okay? If they absorb the grass, we just scoop up and yeah, we'll see if we need any more changes. We'll go from here. At this point in time, although I haven't made too many changes to the list, I'm already pretty satisfied with it. I did make one more change, however, and decided to cut down to 2 Blastoise EX and add a Blood Moon Ursaluna, as in the late game, sometimes you need an easy attacker to get the win. And after running through one more test with this version of the deck, I was happy with the final list. It is a risky list though, as if you prize 2 Blastoise, you're in for a tough time. If that is something you're worried about, you could get away with cutting either a Nest Ball or an Earthen Vessel instead and adding 1 more Blastoise back. And here we are, after a few trials, we already have our final deck list. However, one thing I was not happy with was the build's over-reliance on Neo Upper Energy, meaning it was best to try another angle, and so I set out to build another variant of Blastoise EX. Will it be better than the one we've already built? Who knows? You're just gonna have to stick along and find out. We start off by adding 3 Blastoise EX, 1 Wartortle, and 4 Squirtle. And then I added the engine for this deck, which is Pidgeot EX. Being able to search for any card with its quick search ability, Pidgeot has proven itself to be a fantastic engine, especially for Stage 2 decks, as first discovered with the Pidgeot Charizard EX deck build a while ago. So if Pidgeot works well with Stage 2 Pokemon and Blastoise is a Stage 2 Pokemon, it's best to try this engine out too. So I added 2 copies of Pidgeot EX, 1 copy of the Free Retreat Pidgeotto, and 2 copies of the Call for Family Pidgey in case we need a good going second attack. I also decided to add 1 Tatsugiri, which has the ability Attract Customers, but I won't go into too much detail as I shortly decided to cut it. I then add Fezzidipity for Iona Protection, Blood Moon Ursaluna for late game attacking power, and Psyduck for Dust Noir Prevention. And this is where I add a different A-Spec into this deck, which you probably guessed is Grand Tree, a card with a giant wall of text that in layman's terms allows you to evolve from a basic Pokemon to a Stage 2 straight from your deck. This is a great A-Spec for decks that use multiple Stage 2s, as it makes it much more consistent. And after adding Grand Tree, I realized that we still need to get some energy acceleration going, considering we don't have Neo Upper Energy anymore. And the first card that came to mind was Crispin, which searches your deck for 2 energy of different types, accelerating 1 into play and adding the other into your hand. But of course, we need 2 different types of energy. And I'm sure you know again where I'm going with this, as I decided to include Darkness Energy, meaning I will be playing Munkidori in this deck too. Reason being, as not only does it allow Crispin to work better, but it also opens up damage modification, with Munkidori's Adrenaline ability allowing you to move damage from your Pokemon to your opponent's Pokemon, which in turn allows Blastoise Blastoise to hit bigger numbers. And so given this synergy, I went back to the Pokemon, cut Psyduck, added 2 Munkidori, and cut the tcglive out of the deck. And with this angle found, I move on, adding 2 Crispin, Earthen Vessel, and EXP Share, which allows you to move the energy from your active Pokemon to the bench with the EXP Share attached when the active Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack. This is known as energy conservation, which is great for a card that has an awkward attack cost. Anyway, I then added 4 Rare Candy, 2 TM Evolution, 4 Arven, 4 Poffin, 2 Nest Ball, and 1 Artisan, all to allow for a good setup at the start. And I then decided to add Battle Cage, which simply prevents damage counters being placed on your bench, helping deal with the aforementioned Dusknoir, Dragapult, and Munkidoris on the opponent's side. And yes, this does affect our own Munkidoris, but I thought it was worth it considering that most meta decks take advantage of at least one of these Pokemon. I then add 3 Boss's Orders, 3 Lily's Determination, and 1 Iono for late game hand disruption. After which I added 8 Water Energy this time to accommodate for the lack of near upper energy, and also 3 Darkness Energy. And for the final card, I added 1 copy of Turo. But wait, aren't you forgetting something? Maybe a card that this deck needs? Oh yeah, I forgot Retrieval Energy and also Super Rod. So I cut my Squirtle down to 3 copies, added Rod, and then added 3 Retrieval into the deck, cutting 1 Boss's Orders, 1 Lily's Determination, and 1 Battle Cage to fit it, resulting in our first draft of this new Blastoise variant. I bet by now you can see why Blastoise is such a tough card to build around. It demands a lot, and thus makes your deck very tight. But either way, let's get into the first test of this build and see how it compares to the Dracloak way of playing. Alright, starting off with our first test for the Pidgeot variant. We have a Pidgey and a Squirtle in the active, plus Poffin, plus Arven, and we are going second. So, safe to say we're going to be looking pretty good here. Now, I have been a bit cheeky with this build, putting in 1 Wartortle instead of 2 in a deck that plays TM Evo. It's very greedy. But this is our first draft for this variant. We can change it as we go if it becomes a problem. We're playing against Mewtwo, the Rocket deck. 280 is the perfect number for us to hit, but let's not forget they will play things like Bravery Charm. Again, don't think it's particular. Oh, they're going to charm the Tarantula. Okay, what I was going to say is, again, I don't think it's still worth throwing a Tool Scrapper in here. This deck is too tight to be able to do that. Well, it's Archetype, should I better say. But again, I could be wrong. Earthen Vessel coming in. They're going to get themselves 2 energy here after discarding a Rocket's energy. This is some questionable play at the start, but I won't judge. They will pass up, though, after attaching an energy there. And we get a Nest Ball. That's nice. Let's get you and you. I'm going to check my deck quickly. We have Wartortle, we have Pidgeotto, so the risk has paid off a little bit. And I'm debating Nest Balling for Fez, but there's just no need to, right? We do have energy. I think what I wish I could get EXP Share. Oh, no, it doesn't make any difference. What do I do here? Honestly, I think I get Vessel and Evolution. And if they KO me here, I might have to double Evo. Either way, I'll go for the Evo now. And if they do KO me, I have Fez and will likely find Pidgeot. Only problem is, I will probably need a Crispin in order to fully get Blastoise charged up next turn if I need it. But if not, I'm happy to attach and go for a Call for Family or whatever it may be. They evolve straight into Spidops, though. They have not a... I forgot, they've got the Rocket's energy, not a Grass energy or anything like that in the discard. Although they do have 1 in hand, which they have attached. So they will be knocking out the Pidgey, meaning the best move here is to Nest Ball for Fez. Probably play a Vessel, attaching to Wartortle first. If we can get Crispin Blastoise, we can actually attack here. And maybe even get a Munkidori charged up if we get lucky. But I'm thinking way too far ahead. They take their first KO. And a Rod is not the top deck you want to be seeing. Let's go for a Nest Ball then. We'll get the Pheasantipity out. And we can use Rakandy a little less now. Okay, let's do this. And go for a Flip Script. Come on, give me something. Anything. It's a Blastoise, but it's not enough. I can go for this at least. And I might have to just retreat here to Wartortle. Doesn't feel good, I'll be honest with you. But I do have a pretty good turn next turn if I can maybe find a boss or something. Because I could just boss KO a Mewtwo, and that would be getting us straight back into that race. But a few problems at the start, right? Energy, we're obviously lacking that Neo Upper energy, and we're feeling that already off the bat. But maybe this deck can operate something more down the line of what Dragapult and Gardevoir does in a sense where it starts off pretty slow, but has a really good comeback potential. Maybe this deck can be that. Although they've instantly gussed up my boy with a Mewtwo, by the way. They haven't got it fully charged up just yet. They need an energy switch, and even then, they're not hitting too much damage. So I'm curious. They did just Transceiver for another Giovanni, by the way. They will go for the energy switch. And I know they can't get a KO because their max damage output is 280 and what would be 250 if they hit me because of the solid shell. If they do it for just 1 energy, I'm pretty sure it's going to be 2... Okay, no, it's 190. I thought it was 200. I mean, it does set them up easier further on down the line, and I have to just attack. This doesn't feel great, but it's a KO. It's a knockout. I'll take it. Maybe they don't have to follow up. They probably do. That said, they do need a full board in either. Why is my brain saying either? In order to, what the hell? I had a brain fart right there, broski. In order to knock me out, right? Because they need to hit, oh no, hold on. No. They need 4 Pokemon on the bench because that equals 150 from Spidopsis' attack. So 1 more Pokemon on the bench and they do get to KO Blastoise. If they whiff though, that's a crucial turn. Rocket Rush coming in, we survive. And I forgot Solid Shell. No, they needed a full bench to KO me. This Solid Shell is doing so much for us right now. Nonetheless, I'm going to Arven here and just grab, what? I don't have Ultra Ball. Oh my god, did I forget Ultra Ball? Tree would do it. Tree? Come Tree, please. No, it wouldn't even do it, would it? All right, let's, I don't know what I'm doing, bro. Did I forget to put Ultra Ball in it? They scooped. Did I forget Ultra Ball? I don't even know. All right, let's go back and see. I don't know what I did there. Turns out testing Sean was right, as I did in fact forget to add Ultra Ball to this deck. This is exactly why we do test runs. So in order to fit Ultra Ball into an already tight deck, I had to cut 1 Water Energy and 1 Monkey Dory. Oh, and I also realized that we need a way to find Grand Tree easier. So I cut a Nest Ball to add 1 copy of Colress, which allows you to search for a Stadium card and an Energy card. I also cut 1 Darkness Energy, added a Badoo, and cut 1 TM Evolution for 1 Wartortle. All with the goal of improving our first few turns by slowing our opponent down with Badoo and having more outs to evolving. And if you live under a rock and don't know, Badoo has an item lock attack, which stops your opponent from playing item cards and attacks for free. There you go, I've done it for you. Well, how about we get into our next test run? Okay, test number 2 with quite a few changes this time around. As we start off with a mulligan with the beginning, okay. I think the basic count in this deck is perfectly fine. Maybe we're being punished for going down to 3 Squirtle, hey? That's one of the more controversial changes, I think, for me. As we do start a Squirtle. Sadly, Grand Tree turn 1 isn't going to do anything for us, so it's looking like I'm just going to attach and Lily, hoping my opponent doesn't have a KO on me. Although, now that I see what I'm playing against, likely they do. As they're going to go for a Solrock to turn on that Lunar Cycle ability on Lunatone. They're going to use that ability to discard a fighting and draw 3 cards. And it is Goldango. Okay. One of the best decks in the format. This is going to be a good test for us as we want to be beating these decks. Not all the time. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a reason why Blastoise isn't one of the best decks in format. We have to be realistic about that. However, I've got to be thinking here. I am debating attaching to Squirtle and retreating to Badoo. Item Lock is so good against Dengo. However, Solrock makes it so much easier for them to deal with Badoos, and an attachment retreat gets them going. So am I instead better off just getting Squirtle? I believe so. For the sake of prize trading, I think we have to get going quickly. Let's go for a Lily and see if we get something off this. Tree back again. Get Pidgey, that's nice, and a Poffin, so I can maybe do double Pidge. I don't want to overbench, though. However, they could boss KO Pidgey, and I want to make sure that's not an issue. So let's do this. We have next turn. If they do come up with Goldango and not boss, which I'm hoping is the case, they don't boss a Squirtle here, I can actually respond with a Blastoise 1-hit KO on it with the hand that I currently have, and that would be very good for us. Matchup aside, I am really happy with that turn 1. That is a very, very good one for us, considering we have so many basics out. Evolution already in hand. Our opponent, thankfully, hasn't played any disruption, so no Ionos, there's no bossing. They've had to attach the Lunatone for some reason. I don't know why they did that, because they could have Arven for an air balloon, which they did do, so they could have at least come in with Cosmic Beam, but they've not done that, meaning my opponent is not taking any KOs this turn. Wait, is that actually a good thing for them? Because that means I have to retreat this Squirtle. Hold on. I didn't think about that. That is interesting. I might just tree into Pidgeot and then see what I can do from there. Yeah, hold on. I've not thought about this one bit, actually. No, sorry. I have thought about this. I think I thought about it right. It's just my opponent misplaying has allowed them to potentially get away with it, which is kind of funny, as they do play a retrieval there. Not a superior retrieval, just a retrieval, and end their turn. Okay, questionable plays. I anticipated the correct play, which has actually made it harder for me now. Oh, well, let's Grand Tree. I think I'm definitely just... I could tree into Blastoise again here. But wait, hold on. No, I didn't have the KO because I needed 2 cards here. I needed Vessel and Candy. Yeah, I'm getting carried away. Let's just Grand Tree then. And I think I definitely go for Pidgeotto into Pidgeot here, so I can keep developing my board state. Now, an item block feels pretty good. So let's Arven. I think I'm just going to Candy. I could Evo again. No, I'll get Vessel. Vessel's correct. Candy into the bench Blastoise, but how am I I'm not retreating this Squirtle. So, okay, instead of using Pidgeot then to get Badoo, because I'm not retreating, that's not happening. Maybe I do just go for another TM Evo into another Squirtle. I mean, yeah, and then I can put EXP share here, and there you go. All right, it's weird, but I forgot this Bubble Squirtle has only, how many retreat costs is it? 2, yeah. And that's going to get in the way of retreating. Maybe an air balloon could be something to add for that potential situation. But we are now very much at risk of our opponents boss KOing our Blastoise, but they've attached... Wait, hold on. I've just realized. Hold on. Why are you attaching here? What are you doing? So for those that don't know how this deck works, you obviously attack with Gholdengo to make it rain, to discard a bunch of energy and take massive KOs because it does 50 for each energy in your hand. Lunatone is the last Pokemon you want to be attacking with this deck because not only do you have to charge up with 2 fighting energy, it's only doing 50 damage. You're better off retreating and attacking with this, 70 damage for 1. So this has to be a new player. It has to be someone that has no idea what this deck is, which does ruin the legitimacy of the game. But again, you can't use that to determine whether a deck list is good or not. You can think hypothetically now about if this was a good Gholdengo player, someone who knew how Gholdengo worked, we would be under a different kind of pressure. They would have by now already taken 2 prize cards, and maybe we would have got a KO and hopefully claw back into the game. But now we're just so clear because my opponent is not playing correctly. That said, though, again, our eyes are on the deck function, and we've noted one problem already, and that's a lack of retreat if our opponent misplays, which is not something you really should be teching for. But I still think 1 copy of Air Balloon you can't go wrong with it, right? Either way, do I just Grand Tree into Blastoise here and like try and go for a boss swing? Yeah, I can do that. Okay, let's do it, man. Listen, bro, when my opponent misplays, I'm taking the opportunity. Nonetheless, this is the second test. I can't just scoop and go into another game because then it wouldn't be the second test, would it? Let's quick search and take advantage of our opponent here. Go for a Vessel, which will get us the 2 energy we need. Actually, no, because I need to get an energy attachment. So let me think this through. Maybe I'll just boss up Solrock or something. But even then, what's the point in bossing at that point? Unless, wait, is it better then for me to Crispin here and then Ultra Ball for... No, it's not better to do that. Maybe it's just better for me to Vessel then. Okay, hold on. I'm going to get rid of this Vessel now and just get 2 water. And maybe I can preemptively hit a Gholdengo, but considering I can only do 140, is it worth taking a prize card? That's what I'm thinking. Oh, now that I see it, they have discarded a Solrock, so bossing this does turn off their draw engine and they have to recover Solrock. So I think I'll go with this. My opponent, though, bear in mind, still needs to hit 360 to KO me, okay? And given Gholdengo is only able to do 50 for each energy in hand, they're going to need 7 energy to 1-hit KO my Blastoise, which is possible with Dengo, but it is a reach. And when we're playing against an opponent who doesn't know how to play Dengo, I think it's safe to say that we're probably going to be fine here, unless they come out with some crazy play and they were like orchestrating this from the start. Maybe getting a Turo to open up the retrieval to get them more energy to then get an easier KO. Nah, I think it's copium, bro. I think this person is a new player who's learning how to play, and they have just so happened to come and match up against me, someone who's playing this game for like 8 years. Oh man, that's the ladder for you. But here, this is the test. I would love to show you a game with a lot more intensity, and that's more gripping, but we are here trialing a deck list. We're not here to try and win, as I have been saying multiple times. They do the 3rd energy on Lunatone, though. What is Blood doing? They've hit me for 20 damage. Oh, my lord. Oh, I'm so pro. I wish I could scream at you through the camera right now. Stop attacking with this thing. It's not good. Attack with the deck. Oh no, Grand Tree I think does nothing for me here. And it feels like I'm playing against the AI bot. I'm gonna reveal my cam so you guys know I ain't trying to pull a fast one on you. Look, this isn't AI, bro. You can see their name behind my camera. This ain't AI. This is someone who's learning. That's what's going on. And oddly enough though, like I'm in a bit of a weird spot where I can't get a boss KO because I just don't have the energy. Isn't that strange? Lacking energy. With that said, I think now may be a good time to try and establish no, I can't establish Monkey Dory because I haven't got a nest ball, so Crispin's not going to do it. Oh, that said, I could Coal Res. Yeah, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to Coal Res because Grand Tree has been used up. Let me Coal Res, get myself an Artisan and a Darkness Energy, and then we get Monkey Dory, which is going to be a potential mass fixer for us. So let's do that. Take this opportunity here. Move damage off. Honestly, it makes sense to move off to Fez, right? Wait, what's my retrieval numbers? My retrieval numbers are fine. I can use this. I'm just going to have to take the single price KO. But It evens out the prize trade for us. We only need to take out two prize of Pokemon to win. And at this point, I could potentially soften this up to 140 HP, which would mean boss for a single energy could win us the game. Or I could, on top of that, reduce the HP of these Goldengos to maybe make room for Ursaluna to come in and take a KO. There's options now that my opponent has given me all the time in the world to set up. And they get a Max Rod! Oh my god! That's an unheard of A-Spec-ing Goldengo. But I mean, it's going to give them energy back, and it's going to get their Lunatone and Solrock engine back. But this has to be the most chaotic game I've seen in such a while. I hope it's entertaining for you because, oh my, I bet you people watching now who are experiencing this game have no idea what my opponent's next move is. Maybe that's their strategy, never let them know your next move. Because it feels like that, that's for sure. They're going to Earthen Vessel now, finally, and make it rain. They probably have KO here, which oddly enough, does make things a little awkward for me. Maybe I should have got an EXP share on this Blastoise now that I think about it, because I need to get an energy attachment plus 2 more energy here, which is just actually a lot harder now that I think about it. Okay, let's see what we top deck. If it's an energy, we're fine. It's not. It's a Turo. That's awkward. So I just need to draw cards. Is that what you're saying? Let's play this Artisan. Let's have a little look in the deck, see what's going on. We've got Badoo. Could potentially item lock if things go wrong. No, Crispin doesn't do it for me. Sadly, Crispin does not. So my best bet then is to Lily. Arven gets me an energy, but it means I'm only hitting 140. This is like a superior energy retrieval would be good, wouldn't it? But I think this is just me poorly setting up and not putting EXP share on this Blastoise. So, do you know what? Iono feels kind of pointless, doesn't it? So, well, no, Iono could help. No, I think I will Iono. Yeah, I'm going to Iono. This might be a bad idea, but I think I'm going to have to do it. This is very awkward. I'm going to go for the Iono, and hopefully we can get 3 energy or an energy plus retrieval. That's what we're looking for. Yeah, I knew that was unlikely, but we did get Puffin. So what I can do is play Badoo, retreat to it, and item lock them to prevent any crazy shenanigans next turn, and then maybe we can roll the dice again, hopefully finding the 3 energy we need to Oko a Goldengo. And for those who don't know, Oko means 1-hit KO, as they do get Levincia out, recovering some energy with it. And all of a sudden, this game has gotten much more intense because the ball is no longer in my court. It's in my opponent's court to boss KO a Pidgeot or boss KO Blastoise, at which point I've played right into their hands, which is crazy. Just gonna make it rain. All right, so I'm going to Lily to 6. If we just get one thing, that being an energy or a retrieval, I can then Pidgeot to get 2 extra energy, and that will be enough to Oko this and hopefully see us through to win the game afterwards. There's a Darkness. That's the wrong energy. I'm going to super thin right now. I'm gonna Ultra Ball these 2 away. I'm gonna get Fez for even extra push, as I don't think my opponent can take 3 prizes next turn. We're just going to Lily, and there's an energy, which will guarantee it. Thank God. Let's go for a flip the script as well. Might as well just draw into some extra. There we go. We have retrieval. That's nice. And if anything, that does 3 up a quick search, so I might just get another Pidgeot and evolve into it, or maybe I've got to think about future turns here. Oddly enough, I think evolving into another Pidgeot is thinking about future turns, because they could Gust KO Pidgeot and put me in a weird spot with Iono. I know Goldengo doesn't typically play it, but this isn't your typical Goldengo list, so I don't know. Wait, why can't I get Pidgeot? Wait, what? Wait, didn't I just check my deck and I had another Pidgeot? Oh, it's in a discard pile. Oh, okay. In that sense, we'll do something different then. Do I just get a boss or something? Or a Turo in case they try to trap up this Blastoise? No, I think boss is the better move, isn't it? No, we'll do Turo. We'll do Turo. Turo seems fine. I can always Pidgeot again next turn. Whatever they come up with, they attack with a Goldengo, that's just a KO. So let's just take out this Dengo, and now we're back in the lead. All thanks to, by the way, that Badoo, I think, played a big role. So that seems to have been a good addition in this deck, even if it wasn't used for like turn 1 going second. I do like having that option to slow opponents down if we're struggling to keep going. So I am really liking Badoo. Our opponent is going to attach to the Dengo in the active though. They will superior energy retrieval, and they will get rid of Solrock and Genesect to do so, allowing them to recover 4 energy. Remember, they need 7, so 2 superior energy retrieval will guarantee it with them having 7 energy in a discard pile. There's an Arven getting that Max Rod. I forgot about Max Rod. Completely forgot they played that. Is Max Rod like a... Is that like a... Should people consider that for Goldengo? I mean, is that a thing? Maybe it is being played and I'm like back behind on times, but I don't know. I kind of like the Max Rod in a Goldengo deck. I don't know. It gets your engines back if you lose them. It gets certain Pokemon back. It gets you maximum of 5 energy if you want to, without discarding anything. That's getting me a little bit thinky. But maybe that's for another time, as we indeed, with 2 full Blastoise being KO'd, get the win. And I can't lie, this list also feels pretty good, although slow at the start. Let's see if making a couple changes can help with that situation. As I do take the KO and get the W. All right, back to the lab. And so with heavy consideration, I made a couple slight changes to what would hopefully be the final deck list, as I cut one Crispin, adding one air balloon, and in getting a little greedy, cut one rare candy to add a second Badoo. And yes, I know this takes away from consistency, but the idea is to slow our opponent down with Badoo's item lock to hopefully buy an extra few turns and making up for that loss in consistency and allowing us to set up more reliably. So let's see if that's how it pans out as we get into our third and final test of this deck list. Choosing to go second, again, getting these options for turn one is really, really nice, actually. Either way, this is going to be the third test for this variant, which I've decided to make much more Badoo focused. As I mentioned, of course, we wanted to prioritize a strong turn one to allow this build time to be able to develop properly, as it was the biggest flaw when playing against that Goldango deck earlier. So we've now built that focus up, and we're going to play the best that we can here. We've got Air Balloon in this list, so that's good. Hopefully we haven't prized it. Let's have a look in the deck. We have not. I could actually Arven here for a Nest Ball first, but I think I do just prefer Arvening now for something the following turn that could be helpful. That said, I do have an energy, so maybe I don't Badoo. Maybe it's better for me to TM Evo here and then just do this. That's true. Especially considering they can just accelerate and stab me. Okay, rethinking, recalibrating. But then, like, the risk of that, though, is I have to do it with Fezandipity, and then if they just get Lucario next turn, they OHKO me. They want to KO me. Lucario's a bad matchup. Do you know what? I'm going to prioritize the item lock, and it could punish me, or I could call for family. No. I'm going to item lock them. They get to KO me, but it does turn on Fezandipity, meaning I do get a turn here. Okay, all right, that's fine. Let's Itchy Pollen. And in this matchup, we may suffer the consequence of sacrificing so much damage modification that the Dracloak build already had. Well, hello. How you doing? I don't think that applies here. That got me excited. Lucario is a stage 1, so it's not going to change anything on their front. But as I was saying, we need to be able to OHKO a 340 HP Mega Pokemon. With this build, it's super unlikely. They're going to gust up the Fezandipity. They do not have Lucario. No way. Okay, they're going to accelerate and stab, buying another item lock turn for us. I still think you should take the Badoo there and not get greedy on the Fezandipity, but that's just me, as I now do have Pidgeot. That's good. I like that. Let's get rid of the Evo. I could go straight into Blastoise, but I think, come on, common sense says that we got to go straight into a Pidgeot here and then just develop our board state as best as we can. To be fair, I would like a Grand Tree right now, but I also would like an energy. You know what I mean? To get my boy going. Man, okay, hold on. Is it better to just do energy here? Crispin, I can't do just yet. Okay, I'm getting excited about Crispin. I think energy's the move. This might be a bad idea, but I do think this is the correct move because then I can get Blastoise and maybe find energy, get an attack off next turn. I don't know, but either way, this Badoo item lock seems to be coming into what effect for us already. With my opponent having a small hand size and them not respecting the fact that I am item locking them only means this Badoo is going to do so much for us. They pass? Why are they doing that? They could have at least stabbed. Maybe they misclicked or something like that. I don't know. Rock Chestplate is an interesting card to play in Lucario. But hey ho, this is what testing on the ptcgl ladder looks like, by the way. You come up against some odd opponents, that's for sure. Either way, let's just play and focus on what our deck wants to do. We have Lily's Determination. I think even if they did take out this Badoo, we're probably getting a KO here on this Riolu, which would probably win us the game. So I don't think them passing actually made a difference. Whoa! Just like that? Rare Candy Blastoise? Jesus. I should have Vessel in the deck, which will get me that KO. Let's just be sure of it. Oh, this is feeling good. Yeah, although we got lucky with them passing, again, I don't think it mattered. They would have had one extra prize card, and that would have been it. Oh my god, I can also get Monkey Dory. That's super greedy, but my opponent doesn't have a follow-up. I can get Monkey Dory out for the next turn. That's totally fine. Although, actually, no, I did make a misplay, right? Because I can't attach to it. Yeah, no, I should have got Squirtle for the War Turtle next turn. Oh, it's fine. It's okay. We can misplay. We have an excuse. As I am going to Twin Cannons here, I'll get rid of just the one energy. That's all I'm going to need to get rid of here. It does 110, but it gets rid of it. And this is also feeling pretty good. We get a Colress, which isn't really necessary for this situation. However, my opponent will manage to benefit off of our Artisan here to get another Riolu down if they want to. Or they might be super greedy and just recover the energy and Artisan. No, instead they go for a Soul Rock, and that is a misplay, my friend. I'm just going to boss this. Like, that's all I'm going to do, my friend. You have to get double Ryulu there. I don't know why you didn't do that. But clearly we're seeing some inexperience on the ptcgl ladder right now coming into effect, and they corkscrew punch for nothing because of that solid shell. Okay, so this isn't truly testing the deck against the best of the best, but again, I get what I'm given, and when it comes to testing, what is it that I say? It's not about one game. It's about the feel. How is this deck playing? Because again, you have to remember, we're not going to break the meta with this Blastoise deck. We're just trying to build the best Blastoise deck we can, meaning odds are we're not going to do too great against meta decks naturally. I know, I'm going to keep drilling that one into you, but that is correct. Let's just boss this up, attach to the Squirtle, and I forgot that I had to have an energy to take a KO, so I'm going to retrieval for one. Hey, I'm still misplaying. And you still never know what my opponent can pop off with here. So let's not get our guard down. But yeah, they 100% had to get another Ryulu down. And if there's anything you can take from this game, apart from our testing, is to learn from what I do wrong and what my opponent does wrong as a viewer. And you now know in the situation like this, don't get one single prize Pokemon down. It's not going to work for you. As they corkscrew punch again for nothing. It is futile against me, as I am doing so well here. I'm going to quick search. I won't boss this time around. I'm going to get another Blastoise out. In fact, I don't have candy because I did remove one, so clearly I've prized two. No, I've prized one. I've only got two in the discard pile. But thankfully, Grand Tree still gets us there. So let's do it. We'll Grand Tree into a Blastoise again. And I'm liking this Grand Tree over the Neo. I am. I don't know what it is. It just feels good. I'm going to get an energy on this Monkey Dory. This is our only way to do damage modification in this deck. So I guess I'm just going to move damage to Makuhita. Don't think it matters too much. I don't even need to go for retrieval. I can Colress here and just get a water energy. Wow, this is so synergistic. Is that the word, synergetic? I feel like I'm playing just a good deck. All these cards have purpose. Like Colress has good utility even when it's not really needed. Everything seems to be gelling together in this build. That's what I would say. As they do Grand Tree into Hariyama, I knew they were going to do that, even if it was the wrong move to make. But yeah, I knew they were going to do that. They do bounce the Grand Tree, though, and get Gravity Mountain back out. But it's as good as done, right? Okay, I'm just going to skip to the end if I get the win, because I think we can all tell that I've just won this game. And there we have it. Smooth sailing. They did try and get other Ryulus down and stuff like that, but it just didn't work. I just kept bossing. And that's the one benefit of the Pidgeot build, is you just have all this option for boss, which can pair very well with a 1-hit KOing attack. And there you go. That's another quick win, but a successful test, I think. And although I agree that those last two games weren't really anything special, I think that the two lists we ended up with at the end of this video are very good lists that you can use for Blastoise EX. So if you want to expand on it yourself, feel free to do so. And if anything, please leave a like and subscribe on this video because it took so long to make. So if you want to see more of this, leaving a like is the best way to do so. And of course, subscribing. And of course, commenting. And of course, sharing with your friend. And of course,